I want to talk to you today about one of our newer pens, the Italix Captain's Commission. I'm going to cover things like how to service it yourself, because pens do need servicing, especially if they're not used all the time. And I want to talk also about how the pen is made and how we're able to do it for such a low price. So I want to cover first of all how we managed to sell this for only £49. Well, first thing is we commission it for manufacturing ourselves. Secondly, we do the nibs in the UK in our own workshops. Thirdly, we sell it direct to the end user. And when you think the profit on a founded pen for the distributor and then for the retailer themselves demand at least 50%. You see why fountain pens can be very expensive and why this one isn't. First of all, the Captain's Commission is a heavy pen. It's brass. This barrel and the cap are both made of brass, and in the case of the barrel, a thick layer of lacquer is rolled onto it. Now, in the case of this pen, it's burgundy red lacquer. I don't know if that shows up terribly well in this picture, but we also do a black version. All metal threads might sound unimportant, but this means that over the years of use, screwing the cap on and screwing it off isn't going to wear anything out. Also, we don't really favour push-on caps, because with the best will in the world, they suddenly don't stay on anymore. The lugs that hold them in place wear down and the cap drops off in your pocket. Can't really happen with a screw pen. Okay, let's look now at the inside. Well, again, we've got lots of metal threads on this pen. Here you can see a metal thread, and of course it screws on to a metal thread in here. So again, very resistant to any form of wear. This pen is designed to last the lifetime of the owner. There's no question of that. Converter, well, that's a consumable in a sense. We don't expect a converter to be staying in pristine condition throughout the life of the pen. So it's wise every 3 or 4 years to replace the converter. It stops the tendency for them to suddenly start leaking around these sort of joints around here, and also where it comes into contact with the actual pen here. We've got the nib section, which with all Italix pens is made as simply as possible. Compression push fit, that's all we want. We don't want pens where it's very complicated to get the nib in and out, because pens need to be cleaned unless you're an avid pen user and you're going to use your fountain pen every single day. If you use it every single day, well, it cleans itself. It's that simple. But if you don't use it every single day, then it's going to start clogging up. And the reason it clogs up is because people get fed up with using their fountain pen for a while. They stick it in a drawer with ink in. The ink dries on the feed, and it's then completely blocked. And we get letters saying, I've only had it 3 months, I've just taken it out of the drawer, and the second time I've used it and it doesn't work. Well, sure it doesn't. Okay, so how do we clean it? Well, the only satisfactory way of cleaning a fountain pen is to take the feed out. If you just rinse the nib, then the hidden part of the feed, which is about this length inside the pen, isn't going to be cleaned. And flushing it with water isn't quite enough, or soaking it with water isn't quite enough. It's got to come out. How does it come out? Well, very simple. First of all, remove the converter. Let me put that to one side with the barrel. I'll take the cap to one side as well. Now let's just look at the nib and the feed. These have got to come out. They just pull out. But what's very important is don't attempt to use tools. If you use tools like pliers or anything like that, you will damage the nib. And not only will you damage the nib, you'll probably break the feed completely. So use your thumb and forefinger only. And you just grab hold of the pen, unit like this, nib unit like this, and you just pull, and out it comes. It's that simple. And then what you've got to do, now this one's a clean, it's a new feed, so it's got no ink on it, but this would normally be all clogged up with sediment. You wouldn't be able to see through it, and that needs to be washed. And the best way of cleaning it is to drop it in plain tap water, leave it overnight, and in the morning brush it with an old toothbrush. Don't use detergent, it's not needed, and detergent tends to be sticky and can actually make it clog up again, so plain water. Then flash through the nib unit. Now this is the nib unit, and as you can see, we can see straight through it there, the sort of tunnel effect as I call it. That's nice and clean because it's a new one. If that's got ink in it, that can clog up too, so the best way of cleaning that is to use an old washing up detergent bottle. Fill it with plain water after you've cleaned out all the detergent. Fill it with plain water and squirt it through with some pressure, both ends. Flush it through there and flush it through there. Then you can assemble it all back together again. And the best way of assembling these is to just give it a little twist till it wants to go in. Sometimes they can be a bit awkward, like this one's going to be, especially as it's being filmed, it's playing up. Here we are. So it goes in. We take the nib unit, and all it does is it slides through on top like that. That simple. And leave enough nib tip showing, about this much as you can see in this film here. If you push it in too far, it will tighten the flow. You pull it out too far, it's likely to dislodge itself, make a mess. Okay, then we need to assemble the pen again. Very simple, of course. Just a converter. These pens are simply made because simple means reliability. I think we should have had that as a byline rather than all in the flow. But there you go. It all screws back together. It's then ready for another lifetime. And again, remember, if you use it every day, well, it simply doesn't need cleaning. The ink itself flowing through it, with its solvents in as well, will keep it nice and clean. So there it is, that's the Captain's Commission. A really, really nice pen for very little money. £49. Can't beat it. Nobody can beat it. Bye.